Welcome back welcome to the first full week of February. Welcome to another Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Excited to be with you guys and excited to have my dad and Shay not in an airport.
I'm about to say, like, that looks like he's like the kid that knows he's in like the wrong class right now. And he's like,
I am not doing the huddle this week. I am in Bluffton, South Carolina. I speak this morning.
You're doing it tomorrow.
I'm actually doing both. I speak today and tomorrow. There's Jen Walsh. I will see her shortly. Jen is from Genuine Shift, and she's part of that True Network. Anyway, the only reason why I'm on here is because I am giving the most amazing kudos to Shay, Angel Shay. Both of us got to the airport in Lauderdale yesterday at 8:30. We were supposed to have a flight that took us to Charlotte so that we could connect to Savannah, which is just outside of Bluffton. Well, rain and weather and delays, and we got faced with a situation. We were going to miss our connector. We almost were going to miss the next connector. There was one seat on a flight out of Miami. So I went to Miami thinking I could catch a direct flight to Bluffton, but oh no, to Savannah, but oh no, that flight was 4 hours delayed. So I got in at 8:30. Shay was stuck in Charlotte till 10:30. He took a 10:30 flight, landed, came to the hotel, and he's here this morning, and he is partner and huddle worthy, man.
He is on the ball, right? He is on the ball. Way to go, Shay. I love it.
Always. So, I go to bed at 1 o'clock anyway. So
good morning, guys. We will let you guys exit out. We'll get to some wake up music, and then we'll come back and we'll get the show.
Wait, real quick.
Let's go.
Real quick. You are on tomorrow, just for the schedule.
I am not.
Change the schedule. We're running the show for the week. It's going to be a fantastic week on the Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Get your ass out of here. Have a great time speaking. We will see you. Let's wake up and let's get this thing going.
Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed.
Let's go. So how's everybody?
Just in case anybody wanted to know, I'll be here all week. So just in case.
Shay will be here all week because Shay is committed to the show and ensuring that we run it properly. But let's do a little weekend wrap up. Jake, I know you had a fantastic weekend. What was happening in your world?
I played Catan for the first time, or Catan. I don't know if you've ever played it.
Catan, I think is how it's pronounced.
Either way, I had the most fun playing a board game. I'm not usually a huge board game guy. Monopoly takes too long. I had an absolute blast trading, strategizing for those of you who have played it.
That's not the one with the trains, right?
No, you build like settlements and roads, and you have to like collect wheat. And at first I was like, I need rock, and what am I building? And like by the end, I was like, no, you can't have rock. So working on your like negotiation skills.
That's awesome.
The rest of the weekend was kind of, getting out of bed. It was rainy. It was a lot of times that I could have just kind of said no and laid in bed, but I got up, worked out both days, read, podcast, and all that good stuff. But what about you?
Speaking of podcasts, Nick Mao sent over a recommendation to listen to I think it was Brene Brown's. Is it Brene Brown? I think it's Brene Brown's podcast. And she talked about mindset. I'm going to talk about it later because it's going to feed into the content. But thank you, Nick, for sharing some great content in my world. Always great stuff. Good morning, Lori. I just remembered that you texted us yesterday and then I didn't text you back. My bad. I will get back to that. But Saturday night, we did family date night for the first time. So we did an early date night. We went to Pizza Craft and power of service, right? So like it's getting ready to rain. It was really crappy down here in South Florida all weekend. So you could see like there was another storm about to roll through. and it's early. Like it's like 4:30, getting close to 5 o'clock. And so I'm like, we're definitely going to be able to get a table. I see Pizza Craft. There's nobody there. I'm like, great. We pull up, we park, we go, get out, get in front. Guy in front of us is alone, says, hey, I'd like a table for 2. She goes, oh, we're all full of reservations. We only have availability outside. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, oh, this is no good because we've got Jules who's like ready to lose his mind.
This is
right?
no good.
Yeah, I was like, so he goes and sits down. Like, well, we got to ask, right? First of all, power of a baby. She sees the baby, and I go, hey, we want 2, preferably inside somewhere. And she's like, we really have no room on availability. But she goes, you want to sit inside? We're like, yeah. She goes, let me see what I can do. So she moves some reservations around. She gets us a table inside. Meanwhile, the guy who had to sit outside is sitting like right next to us at the host, right next to the hostess stand. So I was like, if I'm that guy, I'm pissed. But so I tipped her, and then it reminded me. I was like, why didn't I just do that to begin with? Like we talked about tips last week or a couple weeks ago. I was like, why didn't I just walk? Once I heard that there was no space, why didn't I just hand her a 20 and be like, hey, I know I heard what you just said, but can you do something for us and the baby? Because that for sure would have been a lot.
It's cool. And Dad, we were at Cafe Europa on Friday, and it's a very neighborhood spot. And us and another group kind of walked in. It was happening, Friday night, and there were people waiting, and they pulled 2 tables for the 2 groups who are there all the time, and the faces for all the people waiting. And I was like, you snooze.
Right? The power of knowing people, the power of tipping, the power of whatever. I mean, it's just so important. So, and there's some questions going out there like, does Audible count as reading?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Listening to a podcast or listening to a book, if you are consuming some kind of content that is choosing to make you better, you are building the filter for your brain, which we're going to talk about later. But anyway, the date night was awesome. Jules absolutely loved spaghetti and meatballs. He was hammering it down at the table. Great pictures, great videos. So that was awesome. Had a great liturgy yesterday. Went to church, had a great church day. It was awesome. And then spent the afternoon getting the house back right. Oh, by the way, we also have new washers and dryers. That happened this weekend. So all good stuff in the Nudelberg household.
It is. It's a crazy weekend always with you.
What we did not say, what none of us talked about, was football, right? And it's a sad day. It's a sad weekend when there's no football on because you realize that there's absolutely nothing on TV. There was the Pro Bowl and the skills competition.
And the NHL All-Star game was in town. And I
didn't even know it yet. Like I didn't even know the NHL was
Panthers. It looked crowded. I didn't watch either of them. I think maybe the NBA All-Star game is the only one that you watch. But
I will say this. I caught the highlights of the flag football game for the Pro Bowl, and it looked like they were having fun. It looked like it was an enjoyable product.
Peyton was legitimately pissed off at the end. Like he was.
People were competing. Right. And if you've never played flag football is super fun. Like and they brought in female coaches who play flag football and treated it like a real game with real, strategy. So I thought it was I thought it was a great idea. It looked like it was really well executed. I did not watch it.
Casey, just have your team continue.
Casey said new Pro Bowl's horrible.
Just have your team continue to make the Super Bowl, and you won't ever have to watch the Pro Bowl. And for Dan Nelson, correct. All my buddies are Premier League guys. Big loss for Man City this weekend. I know. Big loss for Arsenal, I think. So I'm sure.
And to answer Jonathan Aaron's question, like not a golf fan, like yeah, I'm a golf fan, but like if it's the Masters,
right?
Or the players,
Tiger play or
maybe the Waste Management, tour because I'm going to see somebody like fall out of the stands. But like, I'm not watching like the Waterford Open in West Virginia. Like I don't love golf that much.
Waterbury Open,
yeah, right, whatever it was. Right, well done. You caught the reference. All right, so we have some great content to talk about. You put together a great show, and I know that it's going to carry us the rest of the day. But we're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about resetting your mindset. We're going to talk about how to train your brain, all of that kind of good stuff. And I think it's a great way to start a Monday and to start the first full week of February. So let's get to some morning motivation. Oh, no, I guess we're going to talk about Babe Ruth first. Did I just skip all that?
Go for it. You skip it.
So let's skip Babe Ruth. It's Babe Ruth's birthday. Shout out to Chris Pollock. He put out a great, absolutely great video about sharing your birthday. If you've never seen Sandlot, watch Sandlot. There's some great clips
Much rather get into the content part of it.
Well, let's get into some morning motivational music, and then we're going to come back and talk about how to build your mindset. Okay, so
why did we play that song first of all?
Because what we're going to talk about is actually going to stem from
Bob
this
Marley's birthday, people. It's Bob Marley's birthday, so we
but the question, could you be loved, right, is going to stem back to this conversation of Babe Ruth's birthday, which is going to then take us to positive affirmations, which is then going to take us to the reticular activation system, and it's going to talk about how we control our thoughts and what we do. And I'm on 1,000 this morning, by the way. I don't know how I got here because Jules woke up
at 2 o'clock in the morning, too, right?
But I'm rolling. So there are a couple of shout outs I want to give. The women athletes in the group talking about like busting their nose or chipping their tooth in flag football. I'm absolutely loving it. And then Melissa Graves talks about "You're killing me, Smalls." So let's do it. Let's celebrate Babe Ruth's birthday. Let's show some clips from Sandlot. Let's talk about, do you know who Babe Ruth is? And then let's jump right into, what do we learn from Babe Ruth? Shay, take it away with some videos.
The bee's got it. You're dead as a doornail, Smalls. You're dead as a doornail, Smalls. Smalls, you mean to tell me that you went home and swiped a ball that was signed by Babe Ruth, and you brought it out here and actually played with it? Yeah, but I was gonna bring it back. But it was signed by Babe Ruth. Yeah. You keep telling me that. Who is she? What? The Sultan of Swat. The King of Crash. The Colossus of Clout. Babe Ruth! The Great Bambino!
Shut up, Tommy. So for those of you that have never seen Sandlot, super sad moment for you. Everybody else, absolutely a great thing to celebrate. But my favorite scene from the movie forever is when Benny goes to sleep and has the dream where Babe Ruth comes and talks to him. And there's unbelievable lessons in here for a kid's movie. Shay, show us the Great Bambino coming to him in a dream. Then we're going to talk about some of the takeaways. Oh, Shay, what happened?
That was good. That was a bad link. Was it playing?
Oh. Yeah, it was playing. We were great.
Sorry, it wasn't playing on my end.
Oh my God, I was in. I was so. So I disagree with one thing that he said in the very beginning, which everybody only gets one shot to do something great. I think you are consistently offered opportunity to do something great, but I do agree that most people hesitate to act either because they're scared or they don't recognize it.
Or they've never been taught to recognize opportunity, I think is a different way of looking at it, or the increasing the opportunities that people have. As I think I was listening to a podcast yesterday and it just took me there really quick, is that we need to increase the opportunities for everybody, for every group, we constantly focus on those, individual groups, and you have to, but as a whole, as an entire young force. And it was just a cool conversation, but a lot of are never in the position to recognize it. So they don't know, and they don't ever take, full ability over it,
And so I think when we talk about training our brains to recognize opportunity, and heroes get remembered, legends never die. Babe Ruth never dies because of one particular legend, I believe, which is him calling his shot, him stepping up to the plate, pointing out to the outfield, and whether it's true or whether it's not, or whether it's myth or legend, the idea of calling your shot, I think, is something that everybody needs to understand, because I also listened to a podcast. Thank you, Nick Mao, Brene Brown, great podcast. She talked about the reticular activation system, the RAS system, and she described it as wearing a hairnet. And what this hairnet does exactly what like a shower cap would do, and not allow things in unless you've told it to allow things in. So for people that don't believe in positive affirmations or don't understand the way your brain works, think of it like your social media algorithm. The things you like, your algorithm sends you more of. It's the same way with your brain. Whatever you tell it, whether good or bad, your brain looks for that to make it true. It's just a truth finder. And that's what and I'll give you an example, because Brene used a great one. Whether you've ever been car shopping, shoe shopping, or looking for something, when you start to, if you're shopping for the new Jeep Cherokee, right? And you start looking at it and you're paying attention to it and you're deciding whether or not you're going to buy it. You go out on the road 20 minutes later and you notice every Jeep Cherokee that is around, there's 3,000 around you all of a sudden. You've never seen them before. Right. Now every car that drives by you is a Jeep Cherokee. Why is that the case? They didn't just show up there. They've always been there. But because you activated the reticular activation system with that specific information of, I'm looking for a Jeep Grand Cherokee, now you notice it all of the time.
So what do we need to do to put that in our mind?
So this is where you cultivate the mindset that you have when if you're naturally just a negative person, right? And you feel like you can't get out of this negative loop, the gratitude journal, or choosing to focus on the things that you're thankful for, or the things that have gone well, even if it's only one. You may have had an entire day of garbage, but if you choose to focus on the thing that went well instead of the 25 other bad things, it helps you, it activates the reticular activating system to look for more and recognize more of the good and allow the good in and not allow the bad in. So just the way, yeah, go ahead.
In your opinion, is there a difference between doing it visual or verbal, or is there a mixture?
I think you have to do both, right? Because I think it has, you have to think it, you have to visualize it, you have to see it. But if you only think it and visualize it, and you never put it out there in a verbal form or write it down or put it on a board somewhere where you can see it, you're leaving part of the equation or part of the impact out. For me, I know in order to activate my brain, I got to activate it in every kind of sense imaginable. I want to smell it. I want to feel it. I want to hear it. I want to see it. So for me, I want to try to hit as many of those sensories as I can to overload my brain to say, that's the thing that I'm looking for. And if that's the thing that I'm looking for, then my brain will go, okay, got it. We're going to go look for that now. And we're going to pay attention to it. And we're going to get more of it. So it's not like this is like a foo-foo. And I look, part of me early on in my life was like positive affirmations.
Right.
Just do it. Just do it. Just get up and do it. Just tough your way through it. But There is scientific data and there is real research behind the RAS and how it works. And it makes sense when you think about how you recognize that.
And I think no matter who you listen to, and if it's usually around the same place, a lot of the people are saying the same things, might be saying it in slightly a different way. Because I was listening to it yesterday, and it was like your brain is like a monitor, and it monitors the value you're giving. If you don't invest in relationships, you're like, oh, your brain just goes, he's turning off. So it starts releasing the bad endorphins. It starts teaching itself. And I was like, how insane is that? Like, your brain is monitoring you, what you do.
So like, this is where, and I go back to when I first met Trevor Moad at Florida State and Lonnie, and like, we first got into training the brain of the athletes. And we all believe in how we're supposed to train our bodies. We know that if we go to the gym and we work out, we will get in shape and we will build muscle. It's a fact. We understand that as a fact. I think we don't study the brain enough. We don't pay attention to the information that's out there enough, because mental conditioning is no different than going to the gym and working out and training. If you choose not to exercise, you cannot be in shape. Your body will fall apart. If you do not exercise your brain, not just by learning, but by cultivating a mindset, you will not be in shape. You will not be in good mental shape. So for me, how I cultivate my mindset is through what I read. I'm trying to learn consistently. I go to church. It feeds my faith and my spirit, not because I'm trying to get into heaven, but because it feeds my spiritual being, and it helps me cultivate that gratitude and that grace and that forgiveness and the feelings and emotions that I want my brain to embody. And what I watch on TV and the movies that I choose to watch, which, by the way, if nobody's watched Hacks on HBO, fantastic show. Absolutely phenomenal. So there's one for everybody's list. They're in season 2 of it, or they completed season 2 of it. Absolutely phenomenal. But so cultivating the mindset and the mental conditioning, if you're not putting in the work and the practice, there's 0% that for you to have resiliency, for you to be mentally tough, and for you to have the strongest muscle possible.
I think, in order to exhibit the emotions and characteristics you have to develop it, to be vulnerable, to be empathetic, and you have to put yourself in these situations to learn about other people's situations and apply it.
So I'm going to tie it back to Babe Ruth. Call your fucking shot every day. Every day, get up and call your shot, right? And if you guys don't have a 5-minute journal, I'm telling you, get a 5-minute journal. It tells you to wake up and what are the 3 things that you're grateful for? What are the 3 things that would make today great? What's your one daily affirmation? So you're calling your shot every day. You're practicing your gratitude. You're focusing on the things you need to do in order to be successful. And you're affirming something in your life through not only your thought, but writing it down. It's a powerful, powerful practice. It's great for mental conditioning. And oh, by the way, if you're not sure how to train the brain, or you want to actually learn how to do this, Che, can you pop up the QR code? Scan the QR code, go to the Get on the Ball community, take the mindset course, figure out how to train your brain, feed your brain the right things, and do what you need to do to be successful. Jake Nudelberg, excellent job writing the first show of the week. Excited to come back tomorrow and continue it.
Yeah, real quick, just for housekeeping reasons, Lori will be here on Wednesday. We have Jesse Dykes here on Thursday. And on Friday, I believe we have Dave Stavali.
Dave Stavali is in the Huddler in the hot seat.
Great week of Huddle. Be here every day. You're going to see different opinions. Now,
let's call your shot. Let's get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night.